I'll show you it. Here's the lamp.
It's just always mega dark in my office at podcast time.
It is a good lamp.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to now live somewhere with lots of natural light. It's nice. Makes taking review photos super easy.
You lucky bastard.
I know.
See, I have light, but you guys
I don't have air conditioning. So you know what?
Neither do I.
Oh, I guess neither does Cody. Ryan, do you have air
Yeah,
conditioning?
I'm roasting.
We have central air in our house, but my office is upstairs, which is not ducted very well for central air because this house was built in like the 20s.
So we all swelter.
So I have an air conditioner right over here because without it, it would be like unlivable here.
I see. Life of the bourgeois. Discreet air conditioner.
I wouldn't call mine discreet, but I do have one too.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't really call mine discreet either. It sits here like on the floor right next to me. Yeah. It's actually quite a trashy looking solution.
Mine is a Beast from LG. It looks nice, but it's freaking huge, and the hose for the inlet is annoying.
All right, so I think for focus, we'll start with Note 8, and then we can talk about S8 Active, and I think the Note 8 will carry us quite a way. I'm looking to get done here at 6, so this will be a fairly short one. Okay.
Okay.
Because I have places to go. All right.
Aren't you fancy?
Yeah, he's all dressed up.
I am dressed
up.
Thing that I'm going to as soon as I leave.
Oh wait, I'll go last.
Oh,
you guys.
Okay.
You guys.
Oh
figure
wow,
out
Jordan doesn't get to go last this time.
Oh man, come on.
Your life is way harder now.
You're
I called it,
up, dude. The hell. All right. So I'll go out whichever one of you two bozos goes after David.
Uh-oh. I'm not recording audio.
Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O.
Oh, good thing we haven't said anything worthwhile.
That's
I mean,
weird.
that won't change.
It should be StereoMix Realtek. What the
My
fuck?
MacBook is running at like 100 Celsius right now.
Did I disconnect?
Probably fine.
No.
No, seriously, my MacBook couldn't power my my
Test.
webcam.
1, 2, 3.
Hi.
Can somebody keep
Hi,
talking?
David. Stupid MacBook doesn't push enough power out the USB ports to power.
What the fuck?
I asked myself.
I'm sorry for all of our family audiences out there. This is
Bad words or sad words, David.
No.
Let me try to restart.
Words only have the power that you give them.
No, there's nothing.
Huh. Can you just pull the audio off of YouTube?
I could. I don't really like to do that, but I could.
Well,
How's going on? Speaking of YouTube,
I'm gonna
what's going on?
try. Let's see. One more thing.
That crispy 192 kilobyte per second audio.
Oh yeah, some quality stuff right there.
Yeah.
StereoMix. I don't. Okay, yeah. StereoMix Realtek. Maybe Wasapi is what I need to select. How about now? No, nothing. I'm getting nothing on. Okay, I would have to do this. Yeah, I'll rip from the YouTube clip. Okay. All right.
We don't have time to lose.
Welcome to the Android Police Podcast. I'm your host, David Ruddick.
I'm Ryan Whitwam.
I'm Cody Toombs.
I'm Jordan Palmer.
And I'm Corbin Davenport.
And this week, I think you can probably take a guess that we're going to be talking a little bit about the Galaxy Note 8. Probably hit on a couple other topics because there was some interesting Pixel news last night, but I think that the Note 8 will sort of take the cake. And so they introduced things. We published our hands-on and announcement, and you've probably heard about most specifications for the phone, but if you haven't, it's a 6.3-inch display, as was rumored. Same Snapdragon 835 chip. It does have more RAM, 6 gigabytes, if you think that's necessary in a phone. 64 gigabytes of storage, just like the S8 and S8 Plus. It has a stylus, of course. There's an S Pen. And because of that, the battery is smaller, which is a bit aggravating. 200 milliamp hours smaller than the S8 Plus, despite having a larger display, which is an interesting choice on Samsung's part. But stylistically, this phone looks, I think, we could safely say, a dead ringer for the S8 Plus. And aside from the dual cameras on the back, really, visually, this phone is almost identical to that one. They've done some little things as far as the steepness of the display curve to maximize your surface area for S Pen penning. But other than that, I mean, these phones are remarkably similar, at least in my opinion. The difference being this one costs like $930.
Yeah, if you're lucky, some carriers want $960 for it.
Oh,
Then you
special.
factor in sales tax, and that puts you at quite a pretty penny.
Yep. I mean, I don't think that any of us were really expecting to be blown away by the Note 8, but I don't know. I feel especially bored by it.
Yeah, it's not exciting.
I think the really uninteresting thing that makes it uninteresting is that, well, it seems like Samsung is now saving all of their really big unveils for the Galaxy S series, and the Note just feels like, well, we put a pen in it.
Kind of feels like
Please,
the opposite
please
of what it used to be.
Samsung probably thinks that the dual camera is a big deal, but it's really, I don't know, it's really not.
David, have you seen if it adds anything above the S8 camera, or is it just kind of there?
As far as I understand it, the standard camera is pretty much the same as the one you get on the S8 and S8 Plus. The telephoto camera, has a apparently smaller sensor, a smaller aperture, as in it lets in less light. So it's pretty limited in what you can do, but that's true of most of these telephoto lenses. So most of the changes to the camera are just based on the fact that, hey, there's now the second camera, and you can do stuff like, the fact that you have both cameras. You can do like artificial bokeh effect by combining, the output from the wide sensor and the telephoto sensor, and supposedly it'll look less crappy than pure algorithmic bokeh.
I mean, I've never seen this work well, even on devices that have two cameras.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times it comes down to the fact that the algorithms have a pretty hard time understanding actual depth without depth sensors. A photo's a photo.
Like it needs, it'll only work, I think, in a very sort of straight, dead-on portrait photo. I mean, in some OEMs just call it portrait mode because they know like it's not going to work for anything else. There has to be a very clear demarcation between the subject and everything else.
Yeah,
I thought it worked pretty decently on the Zenfone, the AR, but that actually has a proper depth sensor.
Yeah, and that's kind of my thing is if that's your whole feature, I feel like you probably need more than just a second camera to accomplish that very convincingly.
I mean, I will say if you're going to have a second camera, I mean, the zoom function is an okay thing to do with it. I think what Motorola did with the dual camera setup was less useful. I mean,
was that where they did like the Huawei thing with the RGB and a monochrome?
Yeah, but they didn't use it to sharpen the image. They just did it for post-capture depth of field stuff.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so like the mostly useless thing you can do.
At least Huawei's camera, sometimes it comes out pretty decent from the RGB monochrome, but that sucks.
Yeah, Samsung's like the back of the phone. I feel like it looks a little ugly with like the two sensors crammed up there next to the fingerprint sensor.
Unappealing.
I mean, I never thought the back of the S8 was especially appealing either. It's pretty boring from the back. The front is where it's interesting.
Now the Note 8 just looks cluttered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it does look a little cluttered, and I feel like the sense I get with this phone is they looked at the S8 Plus and said, all right, we're going to put in two cameras and a pen. How can, engineering-wise, we do this with changing as little as humanly possible about this other phone? Also, we have to add squared-off corners because that's important for the Note brand.
And charge more.
Yeah. So it just feels like, I understand that the Note 7 was pretty similar in this regard versus the S7 Edge, where the Note 7 was basically a stretched out S7 Edge. It did have 0.2 of an inch more display area, and it also ran Grace UX, whereas the S7 Edge had, the older Samsung TouchWiz software.
I feel like the bigger change was the Note 4, where they had the metal frame.
Yeah, that was the first metal premium Samsung phone. I mean, I think the A series was out by then, but those weren't they weren't flagship tier.
the A series were the first ones they came out with after everybody's like, hey, maybe you should stop making everything out of plastic. And I don't even think they released those officially in the U.S.
No.
I think there were some A series that came later to the U.S., not the original ones, though.
And yeah, the working out
was it the A or the Alpha series, or those?
The Alpha was the very first one. There's a Galaxy Alpha, and I think that was sold like in Russia and some other random
And
places.
everyone went crazy for it because it was like a
They did, because it was
decent-
a huge change in industrial design for Samsung.
right. And so it's just interesting your opinion piece was right on, David, with the Note line. It's not what it used to be. It really isn't.
Well, I mean, if you think back to like the Note 4, these phones were, when the Note 4 came out, or even the Note 3, probably even more so the Note 3, a 5.7-inch screen was massive.
Mhm.
It was like unheard of. You didn't have another option that was anything close to as good if you wanted a big screen. Like, there were phones with big screens out there, but they sucked. The Note was in very much a class of its own.
Plus that Samsung display.
Yeah, and they were very expensive too. They were almost always over $800. It's not like the Note was ever super cheap or anything. But I think that it's been harder for Samsung to differentiate the Note as phones have gotten bigger and there are more premium big phones out there. And it's gotten especially hard now that Samsung is just making a big premium phone 5 months before what is typically their standout large phone comes out. I just don't understand why you would get this over an S8 Plus. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I feel like maybe the Note 7 incident would have been a good opportunity to retire this brand and do something else in the fall.
I think that it's hard for Samsung to give up basically the free customers that they have, though. People had the Note 5, for example, that were just waiting for their 2-year upgrade cycle, who were going to buy the next Note because they like Notes, and so they would buy that. That's what I think the Note exists for now.
I mean, I bet a lot of those
Note
people,
owners.
a lot of those people, though, I think if you told them there wasn't going to be a new Note, they'd be like, well, I guess I'll get a Galaxy S8 Plus.
Well, I think there was so much fanaticism when Samsung started recalling the Note 7s. It just became an issue where, if they have that much of a fan base, you might as well put out the product that serves it, even if it's not really that different of a product.
Well, I mean, I think at that time, though, the Note 7 was clearly a nicer device than the Galaxy S7 and the S7 Edge, I guess, specifically. It was, I mean, the industrial design was clearly, a cut above, and it had the iris scanner, which I guess people cared about. It just felt like a nicer device. I mean, I can see why people wouldn't want to go back to the S7, but I think this year there's a much smaller usability and design difference.
I mean, just at a cursory glance, they don't look that much different. So, if it's with a pen.
So I don't think it's as much about that. It's that I don't think Samsung wants to encourage people to have to make a decision about another phone. People already, if they like the Note, they're going to buy another one. If they say, well, we're getting rid of the Note, but you should really get this other phone, it's going to give people that opportunity to reevaluate and say, well, maybe we should check out what LG is offering, or what's this essential phone thing. And
I mean,
Samsung doesn't want that thought process. Apple is famous for going through this exact routine.
I think Cody's exactly right with this. There has to be a successor because Samsung knows there are hands out there waiting for these phones. There are people who are going to buy it because
are they all going to be okay paying $1,000 for it, though?
I think, well, if you had a Note 7, they're doing this, kind of upgrade deal where if you can find your stupid receipt, they'll give you, $425 off a Note 8 if you have another phone in working condition to trade in. So, and I'm not sure if there's like a list of phones that qualify for the full discount or if it's like any old phone that works.
Didn't Samsung just catch a lot of flack a few weeks ago for undervaluing people's trade?
Oh, yeah. We got tons of emails about that.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust
People are
them.
not happy.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, $425 off a nearly $1,000 phone still makes for a pretty expensive phone.
That's still, way more than a OnePlus 5. Like, you could buy 2 OnePlus 5s and go out to a nice dinner with the leftovers for the money you would spend on the Note 8.
Yeah, it's true.
I think it's.
You'd be making some sacrifices, but yeah.
Is it going to be that much better than a OnePlus 5?
I don't know. Is a nice dinner CDMA compatible?
Nice dinners max out at HSPA plus.
Yeah, I think the price is. I think what we'll see. So I think that the Note 8's kind of, recognition is going to depend heavily on what happens with Apple in the next few weeks. So the speculation is we still don't know if Apple's actually going to announce the iPhone 8, or if it's going to announce, a 7S and 7S Plus and wait on the 8 because maybe it's delayed. So we'll have to see what happens. If Apple announces the iPhone 8, the price on Notes is going to drop like a rock. There is no doubt in my mind. The Samsung just won't have the ability to maintain mind share, and the carriers will instantly recognize we've got to clear stock because nobody's going to buy these.
But that will happen exactly one day after the pre-orders can no longer be returned.
Yeah. Well, I think the pre-order deal on the Note is like it's pretty standard fare for Samsung now. And also, I think, I don't think it's as compelling to consumers as maybe everybody believes. Money as stuff is not money saved. It's stuff. You get a thing, but like if the Gear 360, nobody wants that. Like you could sell that on eBay, I guess. And
and don't they value the charger at like $170 or something?
What the hell?
Well, how much is charger? The SD card worth? So they value the bundle at like $180, I think. Well, so whatever they value the SD card at, which is almost absurdly or almost assuredly obscenely inflated.
They do this with all their accessories, though. Samsung's online store is ridiculous. Everything is at least double the price that it should be.
And they constantly send out coupon codes and discount stuff too. Yeah, I agree. The actual value that you're getting there. If I were to pre-order a Note 8 and got the choice of items, I would get the Gear 360 and sell it.
Same.
That seems to be the smarter move. That said, I would also expect that the Note 8 is going to go on significant discount within weeks of the promo period ending for all this stuff. It just seems inevitable. There'll be buy one, get ones, and then I would not be surprised to see if we see actual discounts on Samsung's website for unlocked units, probably by November. Probably substantial ones. I bet there will be a really good Black Friday deal for the Note 8 or Cyber Monday, whatever.
Yeah.
This one just costs way too much money.
I think one thing it's almost like a trend is that we're seeing less and less sort of innovation from Samsung and LG, if that makes sense. Like, the Note series was always the sort of testing ground for something Samsung was working on that would eventually make its way to the Galaxy S. And then sort of LG's equivalent, the V10 and the V20 was always this experimental, we've got a second touchscreen. And now with the V30, they're getting rid of the touchscreen, and there's just a few software differences between that and the G5.
G6,
yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what we'll get from the V30. I think that it could be. I think that you know what? But we say this every year. LG's got a chance.
If it doesn't boot loop, they'll be on the good track.
Remember, we used to say that about HTC.
Maybe this year, if LG can produce a big, good phone that isn't $1,000, it will, actually set itself apart.
Yeah, but it's going to have their first, super fancy POLED display, so I'm sure it's going to be expensive.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. But
they'll have I think Evan Blast tweeted that the quad DAC will be on all LG V30s around the world, and I think the pictures of it are, it looks pretty good. I think LG's industrial design is definitely at its zenith currently. The G5 was bad. The G4 was bad. The G3 was okay.
I liked the G2 though.
The G2 looked good for the time. Don't get me wrong. Like it was when you looked at those bezels, you're like, how is that possible?
Yeah, back then that phone was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was a triumph in some ways.
Yeah, I agree. I like where LG's going.
I think it's it's a little generic in some ways, but at the same time, Samsung's new phones can look a little generic-y too. from the back, especially.
I wish they weren't made of glass though. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the issue.
The G6 slides out of my pocket a lot.
Yeah, I would say if we end up comparing the V30 and the Note 8, I would be, LG. I always say this though. I always think that LG finally is going to be like, oh, we've got a very competitive product. How could you prefer than the Note? I really hope that it's finally easy to prefer LG's phone, because I think they're in a place where, yeah, they probably can produce something that is, at least at par in many respects with what Samsung is doing. And we know that LG updates its phones much more quickly these days than Samsung does. So I'm sure LG is very interested in Project Treble and all that. Not that I think the V30 will launch with Android 8.0. I think that's assuredly not the case.
You mean not like the V20 last year being the first phone to launch with Nougat?
Yeah, I think LG would be all over bragging about that if they knew that was going to happen.
Did anyone actually buy the V20 because it came with Nougat? I don't think anyone cared.
Yeah, I don't think so. And the V20 was like okay.
It was kind of boring.
It was. And the secondary display was such a gimmick.
Well, on the V10, I liked the rubber in the middle. Like, it felt really cool, but the V20 was just boring.
Was the V series? Did it ever have the like the leather back that the G4 had?
No, the V10 had that rubbery thing, I think.
Yeah, the V10 sort of looked like the sole of a tennis shoe. It was very distinct.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
And the V20 was just metal. It was a larger G5, is what it felt like.
Yeah, it was a little more refined than the G5 in some ways, but yeah. I think with the V30 we'll see something that's a little more integrated.
They didn't put that weird polymer coating over the back of the V20. They learned their lesson there.
Yeah. So, well, we'll see what happens with that. I do think that Samsung's pricing on the Note 8 is, I just think it makes it obvious that it's a phone for people who know they already want it, and the lack of meaningful differences between the existing phones that they have. So you can buy an S8 Plus right now from Samsung's website, no strings attached, for $675. Same amount of storage as the Note 8. It does have less RAM, and the screen is a 1/10 of an inch smaller, but it has
bigger battery,
more battery, and it does run on 7.0 versus 7.1 on the Note 8. But who cares?
Well, it's the same primary camera, right?
And the software is almost identical, minus the stylus stuff. So that's a difference of $255.
Yeah.
Pretty hard to justify the Note, in my opinion, even with the freebies. So,
you could, for that price difference, you could go buy the charger and the SD card for whatever Samsung's inflating it at and still come out less.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes me think they're going to discount the Note pretty rapidly after this period's over. I just think that overall Samsung's their focus has been shifted to the Galaxy S series, where they're doing the big interesting stuff with the S phones, and probably I bet again next year with the Note 9 we'll see basically the same phone as the S series but with a pen. And maybe some maybe one token feature. The token feature this year is the dual camera, which I am sure will show up on the S phones next year. So I don't know. I have a hard time being excited about it. And I think most of the comments on the hands-on and announcement were equally, kind of blasé. It's not like it's a bad phone or anything. I'm sure it's a very good one, but it's basically the same phone Samsung gave us 5 months ago.
I kind of wonder too if love for Samsung phones is also just dwindling because updates, for example, always take so much longer than they should.
Yep.
The ambition to pick up a phone and know that you're always going to be that far behind is a little rough.
Whoops.
Well, we learned something about David today.
Yes, that is the end of which song is that? Field of Opportunity by Neil Young. In case nobody's familiar.
We're so boring that David's playing music instead of listening.
It's copyright strike against our channel. So the Note 8, I think we can agree, is probably honestly a pretty boring point of discussion in most respects for tech enthusiasts this year. I do have another Samsung phone here that I'd like to talk about briefly. and that is the Galaxy S8 Active, which I think is more interesting than the Note 8 in a lot of ways. Now, this phone is currently only on AT&T, but Samsung has very unsubtly intimated that, yeah, it's going to be on every carrier and you're going to be able to buy one unlocked later this year. So it's just a temporary AT&T exclusive. So I have the AT&T version. So what they've done is they've taken a regular S8, flattened out the screen, put it in this like battle tank body armor, chassis. And then they're like, yeah, you can drop it from 5 feet on the most stuff and it should be okay. Not like a jagged rock directly onto the display glass, but if you want to like throw it down a flight of stairs, it's probably going to be fine, which is what I did. I made a video of it. And it was fine. It got some like little dents and stuff, but the phone's all good. So the other thing about it is it's just like a regular S8 as far as internal specifications, except the battery is 1,000 milliamp hours larger. So it's a 4,000 milliamp hour battery in the S8 Active, taking the S8's already very good battery life and giving it truly excellent battery life. I think this is a all-day phone for almost everybody. I get 6 hours of screen on time after using it like a day and a half, with always display off or always on display off, which is a weird thing to say, but that's the thing I've noticed with the new Samsung phones. If you have always on display on, it really takes a toll if you leave it unplugged overnight, because it just eats through the battery. But if you turn the always on display off, like this phone lasts a really long time. And if you are charging it every night, even with always on display on, it lasts a really long time for a single day of use, as far as screen time. The thing is, it's a little pricey. AT&T wants $850.
Jesus.
So you can go buy a regular Galaxy S8 on Samsung's website for $575 right now. So nearly $300 in difference.
For ruggedization and a bigger battery.
Although I have seen lots of pictures of broken Galaxy S8s.
It is easily. So was it Square Trade that said it was the most fragile smartphone they'd ever durability tested?
Yeah, although it is sort of in their interest to say that.
That's true. But I can believe it at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, there's basically
somebody on our team broke a Galaxy S8.
Yeah. Someone who shall remain
Holzmeister shall remain nameless for breaking his
phone. There's no like surface on that phone that isn't going to be damaged if you drop it. Like the entire thing is just like waiting to break. David's muted.
I am muted. Yeah, so I can understand why somebody would want the S8 Active. That said, I think it's a pretty narrow audience that's going to buy this thing, even if it is from just kind of a engineering and just general geekiness standpoint interesting. Like I really did. I put this down a flight of like 20 stairs in front of my house and just totally let it drop from like it's probably a height of like 4 feet. It's rated to 5 feet, and it was fine. No issues whatsoever.
It looks like the nicest S Active yet.
Oh, also, it is the least ugly one. That's how I would put it. It's still ugly, but it's the least ugly.
It's got soft keys, right?
The least offensive.
It does. It has soft keys now. So they got rid of the hardware buttons. All the S Active phones to date had actually had hardware navigation keys. So actual physical buttons.
I wonder why they didn't just do on screen for that.
Yeah, I don't know. But that this is the year they decided to make the switch. So we're back. We're on software nav keys now. I know that some people have said in the past that the reason they like the Active phones is because of those hardware keys, because you can use them with gloves. You don't have to, take off your gloves to navigate the phone. But at the same time, I'm thinking, wait, like what meaningful navigation task can you accomplish just using the nav keys and not the screen?
Does it have glove mode still? Is that still a Samsung?
Yeah,
thing?
I'm sure that's still on there.
So I guess you could in some way.
Yeah, I just think that it actually doesn't make sense when you actually logically think about it. From like, hey, if you're going to be interacting with the nav keys, you're probably going to be interacting with the screen.
Yeah. I will say that if Google made a Pixel active, I would immediately buy it.
Yeah, it seems unlikely,
Because
but
yeah, I know it's. Let me dream, David. I just want the phone.
yeah, my Pixels are very dinged up, both of them. They have some serious battle scars.
I have a screen protector and a rather large case on mine. So I'd be totally down for an active, especially if it had a larger battery, because the battery on my Pixel has not been great lately, and I don't think Android O is helping.
Really, I found that Android O on my Pixel XL has been pretty good for battery life so far.
I've had like mixed. I don't know if it's because I'm upgrading. Maybe I just need to wipe it and start over. But like the first day, it was amazing. I had like 5 hours screen on time. I don't think I've ever had that. And then the second day, it tanked. Like I got like 2 hours. And so far today, let me see. I'm at 2 hours of screen on time and I'm at 60%. So I'm on track to get like 4-5 hours again. So I don't know. Maybe I just need to use this for a week or so, but I don't know. It seems really inconsistent.
Yeah. I generally do factory reset after major OS upgrades because it seems like, yeah, Android's still kind of janky that way. I don't trust, a full version upgrade. It's mostly, superstition that makes me do that, but I do it.
Yeah.
And
it seemed important in the older days, but
I mean, I will say I haven't done it. I did not do it this time so far. I was telling myself I probably will eventually, but I haven't yet.
Last time I did it was for the OnePlus 3, going from marshmallow to nougat. Yeah, same thing, superstition and paranoia.
Yeah. I keep getting like weird battery draining bugs with my Pixel. I've wiped it like 2 or 3 times now.
Seems like every week you've got something.
Yeah.
An Android phone with battery problems. Wow, nobody's ever heard of that. Yeah, Android O is going to solve all of your battery problems. Basically, this is what we've heard of every Android Android version ever. Yeah, we finally got it, guys. But no way,
Lollipop was supposed to fix my battery.
I mean, Doze mode kind of did though.
It did. It did fix a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
Kind of. I mean, it made it better if you sat your phone on a desk all day.
Well, I mean, in Nougat, even more aggressive.
Yeah, because the lack of Doze when you had it like in your pocket was annoying on Marshmallow, but yeah, it drastically.
And also, I think it was 7.0 where they fixed Doze so that it would work even when you had an Android Wear watch connected. But again, no one uses Android Wear anymore, so I don't think anyone cares.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Nobody actually cares.
My Urbane is still sitting on my desk dead ever since I got the upgrade.
Oh, and as Carson points out in the chat, Bluetooth problems with Android O. I have experienced these, and I am not happy.
Yeah. Okay.
Bluetooth issues.
I haven't noticed it being worse than the Pixel's Bluetooth seems to be all the time. So
I've noticed it being marginally worse because what happens is now my phone connects to the car, but a lot of times the media audio won't connect, and then I have to toggle Bluetooth off and on, and then it does.
That happened to me 2 days ago, where it just refused to play. And then also, I don't know if it's my car or my phone, but the media audio kept cutting in and out after I updated.
Probably your car.
Yeah, Bluetooth, I'm kind of leaning towards it because Bluetooth in my car is super janky.
Bluetooth, I have a car that was built in November of 2015. It should be fine. Pixel still misbehaves with it constantly. I would bet it's the phone. The Pixel and Bluetooth is just like, ugh, and it has been since it was released.
Yeah,
especially in my personal experience. As far as other stuff on Android O, I'm really enjoying autofill. Autofill's nice.
Autofill is wonderful.
Yeah, it makes signing up for stuff super easy. I'm definitely enjoying that.
I don't think I've noticed anything. I don't really use like password manager, so I wouldn't really use the autofill. I don't like the white quick settings.
Oh yeah, those are
that is awful. I hated that.
So my kind of curiosity is if when Google does the new Pixels, if they're going to make an aesthetic break with what will certainly be at least an incremental Android version number change when those phones launch, be it 8.0.1 or 8.1. I'm going to be curious if Google, breaks out, a more pronounced theme for the Pixel phones themselves, because I do agree the new color scheme is a little blah.
Yeah, it's a lot like LG skin.
Is there that dark theme that was in like Dev Preview 1 still there?
I don't know. I've not looked at that because I haven't turned on the tweak.
I think it was either in the
I think
tweaks or
so.
display.
I'm pretty sure they got
Oh,
rid
yeah.
of all that stuff.
They have. Oh wait, where's?
Because remember, David, there was the light and the pixel and the dark or something like that back at I/O.
Yeah, the only thing in System UI Tuner is the status bar settings and do not disturb.
Yeah.
So-
So
I assume it's not there. I think they also took out the thing in the dev previews where you could add custom buttons to the navigation bar.
Oh, that made Artem so excited. He was.
Well, I was trying to figure out how to enable picture-in-picture mode on YouTube, because that was the other thing I was excited to try, and then none of my apps supported it, and you need YouTube Red for it apparently.
Because content and copyright.
I don't know, but like there's no. You used to be able to press a button that would force it, but now there's no way to add that button to the navigation bar.
Although, so I was using my Nexus 5X to test the dev preview, and I updated that to the final one, and I had those buttons enabled, and the button is still there. There's actually no way to get rid of it. So, okay.
Well, that's kind of like when they had dark mode, where they got rid of all the options to enable it, except that if you had it, previously set up, I think, or something like that. Either way, yeah. Google does not really figure into its update kind of considerations. Are we going to break shit from System UI Tuner? It doesn't seem to really enter into the.
I mean, and
factors.
we posted just today the in System UI Tuner. If you turn on the Do Not Disturb toggle in volume pop up, it's transparent now on on the new version. So they clearly are just like, whatever, it's System UI Tuner, deal with it.
Yeah. I think that's a fair attitude, though. It is something that most people never discover. So, whatever, I suppose.
But I need my battery percentage.
Yeah, that's still in there, which strikes me as weird because everybody wants that.
Well, it's in the battery settings now.
Oh, is it?
Like it's not. Yeah, it's when you go to the battery. There's a little switch for battery percentage.
Oh, never.
I don't
Yeah,
know if you can see
well,
that.
never mind then. I withdraw my concern.
I think they moved it.
So
But
we
yeah.
also learned this past week that Android 8.0 is Oreo. What does everybody think of the statue?
It's
It's nice that it's more creative, like that's cool and all, but I don't understand why it needed to be a superhero connected to the Eclipse. That
Yeah, the
just seems-
superhero is over the top. So over the top.
the Eclipse is kind of clever, I think, but the superhero thing is.
I mean, did they even do the
Ridiculous.
obvious thing where the cookie looks like an eclipse? Did they actually do that at any point?
I think
They had an
that was
animation
in
that did it.
Yeah, that was in like their trailer thing or their live stream.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they're not taking advantage of this product tie-in the way they could.
Yeah.
Right, and have we heard anything if Nabisco is going to do?
They've got to. Dave Burke tweeted a picture of an Oreo that has a bug droid on it. Like, give me a break.
I've heard that those were like limited edition for the unveiling. I don't know if they're gonna like.
Oh, so I can sell mine on eBay? All right.
Yeah. See, I mean, with Kit Kat, they were ready to go right away. They're like, hey, look, the statue looks like a Kit Kat. We're making these Kit Kat special edition candy bars. You can win some stuff.
Like that was awesome.
They were all over that product tie-in. This time, they're just like, it's called Oreo, and that's all.
Like you would think Nabisco would want to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I did feel like when the live stream was so short, it's like, it's Oreo. Go home.
I mean, yeah, the live stream, I legitimately thought something broke, and maybe it did. Maybe there was supposed to be a speech, but yeah, they just like they had a stage. and two like stagehands awkwardly pulled the cover away from the statue, and then it like lit up, and then they played the video, and that was it.
Yeah, it wasn't that exciting.
Yeah, it wasn't. I do appreciate the creativity and the fact that they are finally willing again to mess with the Bug Droid IP and say that it doesn't have to look specifically like a green Bug Droid in exact proportions.
Like holding the whatever the name thing is. Like the last
standing on a piece of nougat. Are you kidding me?
The last three statues have been bad.
Yeah, the marshmallow one irritated me.
This one is interesting, I guess. I think the concept is overwrought, but at least they're trying.
It is overwrought. I do agree with that. Overwrought's a good way to describe it.
I will say though, this is the one time they kind of actually should have stuck with the style that they were just on, and literally had the bug droid standing there dunking an Oreo in some milk. Yeah. Like that would have actually
you know what? I wouldn't have hated it. I have to admit. But standing on nougat is bad, and the marshmallow was bad, and because it was a missed opportunity. The lollipop was not terrible.
But after the Kit Kat one, it was really disappointing.
It was. Yeah. The Kit Kat one was really good. So was ice cream sandwich.
And jelly bean wasn't just a jar of jelly beans.
The body was jelly beans. Yeah.
Jelly bean is probably my favorite. That and ice cream sandwich.
I still have from Google I/O. I have a translucent green plastic bug droid that came filled with a bunch of jelly beans. I ate the jelly beans.
Well, you destroyed the value of this.
I ate all of the bug droid entrails and thus ruined the collectability.
You monster.
Yeah.
God damn it, David.
So, in other news this week, I think Cody wanted to talk a little bit about some discoveries about Bisto, which we believe is Google's upcoming set of headphones with Assistant built in, but we don't really know too much else. But we do know what Bisto enabled, or devices that are like Bisto, which supposedly there will be devices like Bisto, not made by Google, what they're going to be able to do. So, Cody?
So in a teardown of the Google app this week, what turned up is a ton of information basically about how you'll use these headphones. And the short version is it's a pair of wireless headphones with Google Assistant built in. Like there's not a lot more to really say, like as a sales pitch. It's pretty straightforward. What's a trip about it is it was pretty immediately clear that they're going to be doing Google's own version of it, and they're putting out like a basic format for other manufacturers to produce these things. So, we're probably going to see, obviously, like Sony, Panasonic, whoever makes Bluetooth headphones is probably going to be jumping on this. And somebody actually pointed out in the comments that there was a post on The Verge that I want to say was Bose. Bose accidentally sent out a picture of some of their headphones that a few people spotted. There's an extra button that no one can explain. It's not the multifunction button that normally goes on them. It's something else. It's on the other side of the headset. So it actually kind of could fit. I mean, it's a stretch. That's obviously just very, very big guesswork, but it's a possibility that they're doing something. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting, and it kind of tells us that Google's probably going to be announcing this in a few weeks.
I don't know what I would do with headphones with Assistant. Like for me personally, I see no.
So how
draw.
I'm not sure how is that different than just being able to use like a headphone that you have now with like a microphone to talk to Assistant. Like you can do that.
Yeah, because I've got some headphones here that you can talk to Alexa or Google. They call it Google Now. That's built into the headset.
Yeah, this is my question as well.
Yes.
I mean, oftentimes you can just like hold the button or whatever, and it'll trigger the Assistant functionality. I'm not sure what is different about these.
Yeah, and in fact, the way these work, these very much, you hold the button the whole time you're talking to it. It's not just, there's no mention of an activation phrase. There's no mention of like tap the button and it waits until you're done talking.
Maybe if it's like if it's like really fast, like you just press the button and start talking and let go, I could see that being more useful.
I could see that better than walking around the gym saying, hey, you know, or okay. Like, I think having the button would be better, but
oh yeah, definitely. Though at the same time, if you're like just in your house using them, it might be better using the activate. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever they're doing with it right now. And I imagine a software update, they could even maybe change that if they wanted to. I'm just curious, like, how big of a market is there going to be for these, and like how much are they going to cost over comparable headphones without Google Assistant built in?
Or how is the sound quality going to compare?
Well, that's going to be Bisto itself. That's a fair question for that one, but there's going to be so many other models that it just depends on which one you're getting. Like, some companies might even come out with like, here's our model with, here's our one without. The one with costs an extra $25 or however much. If it's only $25, actually, why not get them?
Yeah, I have to wonder though what having a smart personal assistant, what have you, would do to battery life on a Bluetooth, headset, earphone. I've got these ones from OnVocal that when you use Alexa, it tanks the battery, which understandably so, but it's discouraging to use the assistant feature on those particular headphones. So I'm a bit skeptical of that as well.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Google's pitch is here. I feel like there has to be more to it.
Yeah,
their pitch is, we took the headphone jack off of the Pixel, buy this.
Yep.
I mean, I'm guessing for one, they will probably work with Android Wear in some direct way that maybe normal Bluetooth headphones wouldn't. But that's such a niche thing.
Like why? Just why?
Yeah, I'm curious because I hadn't thought about that. It's interesting. I just can't picture doing that.
Like the number of people who A, use Android Wear, B, want to use Android Wear without their phone, and C, will purchase all of these products, it seems like an exceptionally small number.
Okay, come on, Ryan. We probably all know a few AP fans that would.
Yeah, but our readers are weird.
Yeah. You heard it here.
Well, I'm wondering if the whole point of this is not so much to be like revolutionary as just saying, hey, you guys like wireless headphones, so do we. We decided we'd also just add Google Assistant to it because why shouldn't we? Like, maybe that is the whole pitch. Like, you can buy without, or we'll just make your headphones a little better now.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what the pitch is with this, and what.
I wonder if there's going to be like
especially if it goes with third parties, what the platform is and what kind of benefits we're going to get, if any. Because I feel like maybe this is just preemptive to Apple and Siri and headphones. Maybe Google just thinks that, well, Siri and headphones is going to be a thing, so we better do Assistant and headphones, I guess. Even if it doesn't really mean anything.
They'll have Google Cast built in.
That would actually be nice if they could do that, but I'm pretty sure it would decimate the battery. Can you imagine having to have a Wi-Fi transceiver in your headphones?
Well, I'm kind of wondering if they will have a Wi-Fi, because it's not like it's that hard to put in there, and if it's only running when they're streaming, which, I mean, you probably aren't wearing them other than that, it's not the least logical thing. I'm just wondering if they do that. So, serious question, if they put in Chromecast support, what's to stop people in your house from screwing with your headphones?
I don't think Chromecast support is going to. I think the one thing they're almost guaranteed to have is nearby based pairing, where you will simply put them in, and they'll send a message to your phone being like, oh, hey, there's some headphones next to your phone. Do you want to use those or whatever? And then they'll connect. And if they don't have that, I will be very disappointed, Google. Very disappointed.
Now, the question on my mind is, will you be able to set reminders with the system on Bisto? Because it's taking a while.
That's a fair question.
I would assume yes, because it's connected to your phone.
Coming soon to Google headphones. Reminders. It's a very complicated problem to solve.
Maybe we're just misreading this, and these are actually for the new version of Google Glass that they're about to announce.
Yeah. Or maybe you can store one reminder in each earbud.
So
Or
actually, there
multi-user
is one
support.
new feature, or one thing that I haven't seen in. It would be basically the phone version. This lets you basically get notifications read to you through your headphones.
I would.
So
Well,
it's like
awful.
it's like a modern
sounds-
Moto hint.
I guess I never used the Moto stuff, so I don't know. But
me personally, I only use Bluetooth stuff at the gym, unless I'm reviewing something. And I hate the little battery low or whatever breaking up the music while I'm working out. So I would hate to have my headphones reading my notifications.
it
that's
doesn't
my use
break
case.
in. It just gives you it says it gives you a chime when you get a notification, and then you press the button to have it read.
I had a pair of Bluetooth headphones that did that, and the chime would scare the hell out of me. I was being like, of course, in the middle of some heavy lift or what have you, and I'd get scared out of my mind because music, chime. So, I mean, I could see it if I'm just sitting here at my desk working with them in, but
Yeah, well, put it in do not disturb mode.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there will be options for it or something.
Oh, well, there is a do not disturb mode. It supports that.
Okay, so wait,
what if it's like,
is it going to be separate from the phone's do not disturb?
It's like Android Wear.
I don't know that.
Because how great would it be if you had separate do not disturb modes for your phone, your watch, and your headphones? That just sounds like
man, that sounds brilliant. Why haven't we done this yet?
Can I have separate do not disturb for the left and right ear? Can we do that?
That would be awesome.
Yeah, actually, that will
go with your separate reminders for each ear.
Yeah, or multi-user support.
Wait, Google, remind me to pair my other earbud and turn the notifications back on. But then you stored it in the one with do not disturb, so you could never find out. You never heard it.
I think if this happens, whoever reviews them has to come up with these strange use cases.
God, this sounds frustrating.
I don't. Based on what we know, what little we know, I don't see myself enjoying them.
What if they're cheap? I guess maybe they'll be competitively priced compared to other Bluetooth earbuds.
I mean, maybe.
Well, and that also has me wondering: are these going to be like big, massive, hardcore premium cans? Are they going to be sort of your lightweight?
I imagine
neckband or neck
I imagine they'll be.
I don't think they're going to go to buds.
I think it'll be some sort of sleek sort of deal.
Hopefully, yeah.
So like those neck bands, but they only go around your head instead of having like the Power Beats cord going down.
Oh no, I think if Google does headphones, they are going to be completely standalone individual earbuds, totally wireless. I don't see
like
that.
AirPods.
I don't know about completely wireless. I mean, I could see them doing something like the Jaybird X3.
Don't see that happening.
Really, you think no wires?
Standpoint that like if they came out with something with wires, they would get just endless shit from everybody. I think it's too much a thing now.
So are you thinking more secure AirPods?
I'm thinking probably. Well, I guess I don't know. I'm curious to see what Google does, but I think if they come out with anything but basically Google AirPods, they're going to get very unfavorably received.
Better have foam cups on them because silicone sucks.
You know what? Because you know what? The AirPods, they have their issues. Don't get me wrong, but as far as the wow factor and this is where the industry is going factor, clearly that's they're on the right track.
What if it's just like a band and then there's a Google Home on each ear?
I have to say I also have a pair of completely individual buds on my desk, and it's pretty nice not having the cable because I have the trouble with neck bands, the cable, restricting my range of motion. So I like the concept of AirPods, but most of the ones I've come across just don't stay in my ears.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. And with that, I think I'm going to have to cut us off this week. But you can catch us again in 2 weeks. We'll be at IFA next week in Berlin. Ryan and myself and Scott Scrivens, our UK contributor, will be there covering some stuff. I think we will have some interesting news that comes out of IFA, including some stuff hopefully from Samsung, from Asus, from Motorola, I'm thinking, and possibly others as well. We'll see what happens. But thank you for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
Good night.